laser cutting project today, we are going to be creating a laser cut house. Now, the next unit we're going to be doing is going to be involving circuitry. So what we're going to do is we are going to create this house. You're going to decorate it a little bit, maybe put some designs on the roof. You need to put your name on it. We need to put windows and doors in. I'll show you how to do all those in this video. But what I'm going to be doing here very shortly is I'm going to give you the basic outline file. So you don't actually need to create the whole design of this house. You just simply need to decorate it and put windows and doors in it, which is something that you should know how to do at this point with using Inkscape. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a file that's going to have all of these pieces as flat pieces. Okay, but like I said, they're not going to have windows and doors on them. And then I'm going to walk you through how to add those, and then we're going to put them in the Dropbox. Now we're going to be doing some circuitry for the next, let's say, not quite 10 days or so. So when we're done with that, we're going to come back to this house, and we are going to do a project where we're going to try to wire up this house. We might add some LEDs. We might add a buzzer. I'm not quite sure what we're going to add to it quite yet, but we're going to get these lasers or these houses designed because it's going to take a little bit of time for me to cut out one house for every single one of you. And what's very, very, very important, when I give you the template here and I show you how to download that and open it in Inkscape, it's very important that you don't move or delete any of the holes that are on here, because that's how you're going to build it and put it back together. Okay, these little notches, for instance, we're only going to build within these. So this is already going to be created for you, and you only need to decorate it. So let's jump into Inkscape. I'll show you how to use the align tool and the drawing tool to maybe add some windows here. I'll give you some other ideas of some things that you can do. And then when you're all done today, I need you to submit this into the Dropbox, and you're going to name it your last name and house. So mine would be Hale House. Good luck. So as I mentioned previously, I'm going to give you the file that is the outlined cuts of the house, and it's our job to add windows, doors, and if we want to decorate it a little bit, you can do that as well. So I am in Inkscape right now, but what I would like for you to do first is you need to actually download that file. So in Schoology, I have a link that's going to go right to this. Laser house, no windows. It's also, as you can see for this lesson, in the laser Dropbox. So it's either going to be linked in Schoology, more likely I'll put it in the Dropbox. But what you are going to do is you are going to go to this laser house, no windows, and you are going to right click, which is your secondary click, and you're going to click download. Okay, and once it's downloaded, you see that it'll pop up here under our downloads. Okay, so now we need to go retrieve that. I'm going to go back into Inkscape, and I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to go to Open, and I need to find it. So in my case, I said that it was under Downloads. So let's go here. Let's find, there's my downloads. I click on that, and there it is. It's the very top one. So I will double click on that, and it's going to give me this file. Let me open this, make this go back to full screen here. So there is my my house. You can see all these little notches. It's very important, like I said, do not move these little notches because these little holes here, I should say, fit on the notches of the outside of the house, so it all snaps together. So it's very, very important that we don't move those or delete those, even the slightest little bit. Okay, now I am going to first start by doing a little bit of drawing here. And let me zoom in. So let me click on one of these things here. Here we go. Okay, and I'm going to zoom to selected. Now, your menu, so you see this menu over here on the side? On my right side? Yours is across the top on your computer. I'm not sure why it's different on my computer, but these icons over here are across the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom to selected. Because I have this clicked, I can click on this zoom to selected. There you go. And now I can work inside this shape much more zoomed in. Now I didn't make it bigger, I just zoomed in. So for instance, if I click this, I go back out to the whole page. This just allows me to work in there in a more zoomed in fashion. So zoom selection, there it is. Now this is a sidewall. Sidewall. Front or back, they're both the same. This is the roof, these are the two pieces for the roof, and this is the bottom. Now as you go through this, just like I mentioned in the other videos, if you get stuck, I would like for you to pause the video, or if I ask you to go maybe find something online that you want to put an image on it, pause the video. It doesn't make any sense to just continue to let it play and then you're missing my instructions. So what I like for you to do now, let's learn a little bit about some align features. Okay, so I'm going to go on here and I'm going to draw a rectangle. Now yours might look a little bit different. Okay, again, you might have a fill. Fill is the inside. We don't want a fill. In this case, we do want this to be red because we're going to cut this out. So your stroke, which mine is 100% red, 255, that's exactly what you want. I'm now going to right-click on it, and I can click Duplicate. Now, it looks like it really didn't do anything here, but in fact, what happened is it put it right over top of the other one. Okay, so I'm going to get this, let's see if I can get this as close as I can to the same height. There we go, doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and now I have both of them here. I'm going to highlight both of them like this. I'm going to right click. Let me try that again. There we go. Have them both selected, right click and duplicate. And if you have a little bit of a struggle like I just did there, just highlight them again and click. Alright, so hit duplicate again. Now once again, looks like they aren't there. I'm going to drag this down. There's my first window. If I highlight it again, and I can, if I have it all highlighted, you know, I have it all highlighted by these arrows being all the way around it. I can either grab when my arrow, if you can see this, it might be small on your screen. When my arrow turns to a little crosshair, it means I can move it. Okay, and you can center in this little tab, this little notch here. Just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Great. I'm going to, now I have it all highlighted. I'm going to right click again, duplicate this one more time. Look at that. And I want to explain something that is very, very, very important. Excuse me. If you highlight it and you duplicate it, and let's say you click off of it, what you're going to need to do, because right now what's happening is there are two sets of these. Essentially there's these same boxes over the existing ones. So if I were to click on one and move it, you see that there's two. So if you accidentally do that, what I would ask that you do is you need to delete one set of them. Okay, so I open it up. I can either right click on my mouse and hit delete, or I can simply click it like this, and there's a delete button on your keyboard, and I can do that. So that's a quicker way. So I can drag this and I have it, hit the delete button on my keyboard. There are my two windows. Now, pause the video if you haven't already and done those steps, or pause it even if you are still working on it to finish it. And then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to show you how you can take this and copy it to the other one. So finish drawing your windows here, and then you can unpause the video. Okay, so now I'm assuming that you have 8 rectangles. So we have 2 windows here. I'm going to click on my zoom to page. Again, yours is going to be across the top, but mine looks like this. So that's the zoom to selected. So that's how we zoomed into this here, the side panel. But if I hit zoom to page, there we go. And check this out. Let's make this easy. There's no sense in making this more complicated by drawing more rectangles. What I can do, if I start over here and I drag, it's going to highlight all 8 of these, so all of the windows. Now, notice this. I highlighted in, it's only going to select the parts that I completely highlight, or I completely, put this rectangle around. So that big side panel that I drew on, you notice that that's not selected. And I actually had part of my selection overlapping part of this piece, but because it didn't grab all of it, it didn't select it. Now I have this chosen here. I can once again right click, duplicate. Let's make this easy, ladies and gentlemen, and drag this down. Okay, I can eyeball it there. That works for me. And now I have these, and what sometimes happens, as you see here, it might not be the case, but if I click on these windows, you see how it grouped all of these together. And I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not quite sure why that happens. But it's something for me to show you how you can ungroup something. So, for instance, it won't let me just simply highlight those windows because they're part of a group. So if I were to click on this, see how they're all selected? If I right click on this and I click ungroup, now what that does is it makes them all separate. So sometimes when we copy and we paste things, again, I'm not quite sure why it does this, but it grouped these with the side panel above it. So we had to ungroup it. If you miss that step, go back and watch it again. If you can't highlight just the windows, go back and watch that step again. So now if we want to be a little bit more specific, we want to put these in exactly where we want them to be, I can click on the side panel, zoom selection, and now let's highlight these. So now I have these, okay? And I can move these around wherever I would like for them to go. So let's go like that. Okay, let's go to zoom out to page. We have a front and a back, or a back and a front. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one's which. It's the same piece as far as it's cut at this point. It's just up for you to decide. Let's do this. Let's grab just one set of windows here. Right click, duplicate. Now again, looks like there's nothing there, but it's on top of it. So if we select it and drag it over like this, I'm gonna put one there. Let's duplicate this one. Whoop, nope. Mr. Hale almost made a boo-boo. Do you see here how it's small arrows? Okay, let's try this again. Right click, duplicate. There you go, I got all of it that time. We can put these here, like so. Now, this is where it might get a little bit tricky. I want to show you something that I thought was pretty fancy that I did on mine. Excuse me again. And I'm going to zoom to I'm going to select here, zoom to selected, so that's what I have. And we need to put a door in here. Let's do that. That one's an easy part. Let me click on this rectangle here. Let's draw a door. Do not cut into this notch down here. So we're going to put it right about, there's my door. Hey, but it's not centered properly. So I'm going to choose my select tool, and I can drag this thing over so it's centered in that little tiny notch. There we go. Good enough for me. Now on mine, I had little tiny wedges above the windows, and there's a multiple wedges up top, and this is where it might get a little tricky, and you can play with it a little bit. So I'm going to go to this ellipse tool or the circle tool, and I'm going to draw a circle. Now when I let go of my circle, you see this little red dot here? That dot, in fact, is how we make a wedge. Now check this out. I'm going to make this wedge here, like so. Okay, I'm going to now select it, and I'm going to, so now I have a little wedge here, but it's the wrong way. That's okay. There's a couple little tools that are going to help us out. I believe your tools that look like this. This is flip and rotate. These are the flip and rotate tools. Okay? Flip vertical, flip horizontal, rotate. Those I believe are at the top of your screen too. Okay? So I have my tool here. Let's click this one and let's rotate it. That'll work. Let's drag it here above this window. Looks a little big, Mr. Hale, so let's resize it. That'll work. Right click. Duplicate. So now we have two of them. Hey, but this one's going the wrong way. We can flip it using this tool. So again, if you missed those steps, because I did that kind of quickly, rewatch it, pause the video, but this is the flip. So now we have little arches. Isn't that adorable? Duplicate. Great. Let's put on this side. So something else you're able to do is if you wanted to select these, okay, and we can duplicate it, and whoops, I think I may have only made one by accident. Yep, I did. Let's put this one back. We'll make sure we go back exactly where it was by hitting the undo button. Mine's over here. Okay, let's delete this. Mr. Hale made a boo-boo and didn't have them both selected. We can duplicate. We can drag this up here, and if we wanted to, we can even make this bigger, like a bigger windows in the center of our house. I, on mine, decided to play around with it a little bit and make 4 smaller wedges. If you want to figure that out, go for it. I'm going to zoom out now to page. Now on the back, we don't need a door on the back, but let's do it this way. Let's highlight all of this, like that. Let's duplicate all of it. Let's drag all of it down here, like that. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to simply just delete that door. There, so that's the back of my house. Front of the house, back of the house. If you want to squeeze these windows in to close up that gap and kind of space them out, that's fine, but that's fine just like that. So now is where it's going to get a little bit fun for you. In order for me to know who these belong to, I'm going to need you to, first of all, write your name in here. So let's do text. Let's click here. Okay, and I would like for you to put your last name. So I'm going to put Hale. Mine's going to be all caps. Let's see, my font is called Ink Free. Doesn't really matter. Let's make this bigger, like that. And you see how my outline's thin. That's because my stroke is thin. But I don't want this to be red. Super important. I don't want this to actually cut out the bottom. I need this to be blue. So it's going to do a darker burn in there, but it's not going to burn through the whole thing. Okay. Looks like I got something. Look at that. It's being a little silly, but that'll go away. That won't actually happen when I print it. I don't know why my computer's doing that. So put your name here. You can resize it, stretch it, however you would like. There. And one more thing that you can do if you would like. Remember how we went and we got pictures on Google, and you right click and you either copied those pictures or you downloaded them, and then we had to go up to File and Import to find wherever they were loaded. If you want to put pictures on your roof or even on the side of your house for that matter, that's completely fine. Those need to be black, okay, because those are going to be a light burn. So if you want to, for instance, you want to decorate this and you have a little bit of time left today and you want to put shingles on this, you can look up shingles. You can even just put a picture on there for all I care. It doesn't really matter to me. This is the main part that I want you to try to accomplish today. And I need you to save it as, so this is called Laser House No Windows. I need you to go to File, Save As. Important step. If I hit Save, it's just going to save it and it's going to keep it that same name. We don't want it to be that name. I want it to be named your name. That way I know who it belongs to. So you're going to go to File, Save As. I'm going to put mine on my desktop. Right now it's under Downloads. And you can do that two ways. You can click on the drop down and click Desktop, or there should be on the left side the ability to just click Desktop here. I'm going to click on Desktop and I'm going to call this Hale House. Save to the desktop. I'm going to go into Schoology. Here's my laser Dropbox. Remember, that's the one I put here. Do not delete that one. We're going to go to File, Upload. And if it's on my desktop, let's see here. Hale House. There it is right there. Click, click. And then I know that it's good when it gives me this green checkbox down here. So that is it. We're going to be coming back to these laser cut houses probably in about a week or so, in order to do a little bit of circuitry, probably a couple weeks actually, a little bit of circuitry with these laser cut houses.